me to work outside in the cotton field, it's not only to work, it's not only the physically thing that I do if I move irrigation pipes or if I sit 10 or more hours on the tractor. You have around you most people in your age, and you became in some way really a united group. That sometimes, you know, you became really friends because, you know, when you are working very hard, doing things together, you became very, very close to each other. The earth, it's not earth, it's Israeli land. It's my land, and I really feel it. I must say that sometimes I wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm really wake up glad. It's really my feeling.
It's wonderful to hear how you talk about earth and about his feelings, like a poet. I'm very happy that my husband feels like that in his life. It's something great. But my situation is not the same. I feel that Yuda is open to the kibbutz because of his feelings for the company, for what happened here. And I am enter myself. All the time I feel that I can do something better outside of the kibbutz, that here I don't find myself in the kibbutz. But it could be that it's only illusion. Because also outside of the kibbutz you have problem and children and house and so forth. I like the work, but it's some hard things that I stand in my road. How to say? I feel all the time that something closed in myself. For average woman, it's not hard to dream. It's not hard to want some ambition, but it's very hard to get something.
You know, Rachel, that there is so much to tell about. At first, you must sometimes compare between your own problem and the kibbutz problem. I know that there are a lot of women in the kibbutz didn't find themselves. I know, and for a lot of reasons. They don't have a lot of choice. They don't have the freedom to choose.
They feel very bad.
Yeah, I know that they feel very bad, but there is another thing that I know, that in the kibbutz you can change things. I think one of the great points of the kibbutz is in power of one, if he fights. And sometimes it's long and hard fight.
I have no power. I'm a simple woman. I have no any power. I have no power. I'm not the one
but
with the power.
Outside you must to fight every
yes,
step.
because I must. Here I'm not must. Everything is
so
going,
you wait. No,
going,
so you wait that everything's given to you. And
it could be. But it's developed. The feeling that you don't must to do it now, but tomorrow. It's something that developed here. The condition here is so simple. Everything is so comfortable here. You let it going, and this is what has happened.
If you want to live in the kibbutz and you have the freedom of choice, you can live. But if you decide to live in the kibbutz, you must to agree to give up few things. It's very difficult to explain. You must to feel it in. It's sometimes piece of your freedom. It's happened from your own freedom. Because if you a few minutes ago I spoke about to wake up in 4 in the morning and to be happy. It's not, as I told you, it's not happening every day. Sometimes you really want to stay in the bed until 10, but you walk and you do your job. There is few things that you must to agree with them if you want to live this kind of life.
I talk about something more deep than you talk. I don't talk about the giving up. I agree with it. In every such of life, you must to give up for something. It's understood. But I talk about the fact that I don't find myself.
Okay, Rochelle, but all what I'm trying to say to you is that you always want to do more, and you want to do more, and you want to try.
Because
let me.
I'm afraid here to fight because
but you don't
everyone has some relationship to me. I'm afraid. Everyone knows me. I don't want everyone to know.
But you know.
I want to be free, really free.
But Rochelle, so you have to I want.
I want to go from here. It could be snow here. I said that I only can dream about things. I can't do them. I am closed some door, and everything is entered. It's in me.
Ours is the first generation of kibbutz-born children. So in a way, we are an experimental generation. We grew up in separate places, separate from our parents, in what we used to call children houses, children homes. And of course, in the afternoon, we used to come to our parents every single day. At the beginning, it all started as a matter of sheer expediency. Not necessarily in our kibbutz, but in the first kibbutzim. Later on, it developed into a whole educational system. People realized that it was both good for the children and for their parents, that children, especially at the older age, would live with each other and come to their parents for the afternoon.
You know, when you live with a group all the time, from the day you were born or a little bit later, you live with them all the time, and then you have, sometimes we don't have enough privacy, and most of the problems we have is because of that. We don't have enough privacy. Yeah.
Which way do you mean that you don't have enough privacy?
We live for kids in one room, and we don't agree in way of doing things or something, and that makes problems.
I see. Do you feel that for little children, it's better to sleep with the parents or the way they do now?
Kids about 3 or 4, it's good to sleep in the parents' house, but when you start learning, it's better to sleep in the children's house.
My sister has many frightened through the night because she sleeps without my parents. It's not good.
I like sleep at home too.
As a kid.
It would be too hard for them to start living in the parents' houses and then change and go to live in a group, which is different. So I think from the beginning.
מה שחסר יהיה, בסוף אני רוצה שגם נעתיק את הטבלה שיש לנו על הדוח, וגם נוסף לזה, אולי בהתאם לשאלות שלכם, את הדברים שמצאתם.
I don't think that the kibbutz is so bad, and I hope that my children will feel like Judah. I want that my children will live here. The kibbutz promise you really good things in the education. You can say it's bad and it's not going with time. And I think it's better than the street outside. I think that for the children, the kibbutz is very good. The problem begins after that, when you are older and feel the problem of the kibbutz. The children have everything.
אנחנו מצאנו עדות של קרן.
They educated us, but they educated us to be a human being. They don't educate us to a certain way that we lead our life. So
And that's
they
not a
want
human being.
to give us quite a human values, let's say. But
No, it's not human values.
The
Kibbutz
education is towards the kibbutz later on, and it doesn't show all of the sides. That means that when I come to the army, that's what I said about when I finish, I'm really frustrated. I really see a new world, because till I was in the army, I was really in a closed society.
Mind you, we chose that kind of life. We made a clean break with bourgeois society, with a kind of establishment our parents lived in, and we wanted to create something new.
I think that we have a very, very complicated problem to have, because our parents came to kibbutz and built it. We have the problem to continue, and how to continue is in the same idea, whether we like it or not.
There's one point where we probably differ very much from the younger people, and this is this. We chose this kind of life. We had a personal revolution. We had to undergo a personal decision to go and join a group that's completely different from all prevailing environments. Our children didn't choose anything. They were simply born within this frame.
A kibbutz, as it is now, is quite an ideal place to live. And my problem now is just to accommodate myself and to see myself in a society in the kibbutz. How can I fulfill my ambitions and so on to just to continue the life on the kibbutz and to give something to the kibbutz? Because now I feel that I can't give anything to the kibbutz because I don't have anything to create. I just have to continue. And what can I continue? Just teaching on the high school or treat the children?
You agree with the kibbutz principally.
Yes.
But if you find out sooner or later that what you want to do personally, to create something you can't find here, would that make a difference for you? Could that make you decide to leave the kibbutz?
No. I think that I have to find the way, and I think that the kibbutz can help me. The kibbutz must help all the young people to find their way, just to continue the way of life.
I want to find myself alone.
Your problem and the kibbutz problem. It could be a thing, one thing.
I'm still searching. I have no definite aim. Nothing which I say, okay, this is my way, this is how I'm going to live, this is what I'm going to work, this is what I'm going to study. I have nothing yet on my mind. I'm in an age where I'm searching. I'm searching.
Your problem is not the kibbutz problem.
But it's all the young level problems.
The outside world has a fascinating, a glittering fascination for them, as if in the outside world everything is marvelous, everything works smoothly, relationship is brilliant. You can choose whatever you want. There are no hesitations, no handicaps. You are not influenced by anyone, not by your boss. No limitations, no hesitations, and that's simply not true.
Oh,
just a show up.
You're right.
Gershon felt it, I think, in America. He didn't feel at home in this society. Therefore, he came back. Perhaps he looked for his childhood unconsciously, and he didn't find exactly what was existing then. I agree, because we all changed.
Yeah, I didn't think much
The kibbutz
of their
itself,
past
how they
ideals.
changed.
I came here after being away 10, 11 years, and I saw it how it was, and I liked it. So after I went back to the States, I came back. I didn't, think much about the ideals and what they were trying to accomplish.
But what was it that you did like here?
First was that you live with people, you see them every day, that you come in contact with people all the time, and the work, that you don't think about how much you're going to earn, and you don't think too much about yourself, really. If you have to work 10 hours, you work 10 hours. If you have to work 6, you work 6. And
Mostly 6, eh?
Just the whole setup. It's like a full circle. It all comes back. It feeds itself.
Does it work?
Economically, yes.
Socially?
No.
Why?
Well, it works, but in my opinion, it could be a lot better.
Why did Gershon come here? Because he feels this is a good place to live in. Now, what the hell are we trying to do here? What did our parents think before they came here? They wanted to build a society where people would be happier, where people would feel better. Now, this, of course, is quite a problem, because nowadays, being born into it, we don't realize it any longer. We tend to forget it. We tend to play it down. It's obvious. It's a part of our life. And then, of course, we get on to criticizing here and there all different aspects of kibbutz life, and there are lots and lots of aspects that should be criticized, really. So the kibbutzim are perhaps as good as they were created. Perhaps even better. But what comes next?
as we worked, we saw that in order to further ourselves materially, it wasn't enough to work only on the land. We didn't want to be just an isolated group. We wanted to attract people as well. We wanted to live along with the world.
I think if a kibbutz wants to attract people to come to it, it should be isolated. Because if we're going to be like everybody outside, like in the cities, then we won't have anything special in us. I don't know, it's getting closer to the city all the time. And I think that it should be isolated.
I wouldn't say that. I think that's a very wrong conception. We never intended to be isolated. We intended to live a life that could be lived by people. Otherwise, you have no future. You're just a group that agrees to living its own life in sort of an ivory tower, as we say, and a life that you don't expect others to live, which means you won't have any additions, and naturally you'll have people who leave the kibbutz. It's a sure way of building some society that has no future.
Society doesn't just grow on the side of a materialistic point of view. We could live in a lower standard of living and in a higher standard of soul living. I would drop the factories out. I think it's a disaster for the kibbutz.
I don't think that the factories create a lack of communication. It's mainly the people, in whatever situation they might be. I don't think that living on the land creates more. We don't find that the world over farmers have more communication.
People used to have much more communication 10 years ago when the standard of living was much lower. I still think the kibbutz is great. Going into some crossroads, I think the kibbutz will have to stand and decide where we're going.
Need, like expressing myself with people, lost this need to put my feelings on paper. I couldn't open up, I couldn't even begin to open up when I was, let's say, 18 to another person. And I wanted more from me and more from other people. I think Purim is the one holiday for people to really let go, dance, shout, and sing, and doing everything they want to do. They lose the everyday identity by putting on a mask or a costume, and they can really let go.
שים את האח, מה אתה רוצה שתשים את האח? אז יגדור, תשים עכשיו את האח, הוא רוצה בשביל הסרט. זה שלי, עזוב אותו. אחר כך הוא יחזיר כבר. רגע. לא מתאים לך, זה לא...
זה צבעוני? לא, טלוויזיה. In other societies, at home you can be a different person. Here you can't. You work with the same people, you eat with the same people, you see the same people. There must be some time when they forget who they are.
אסטרונאוט, כן.